Happy Friday, everyone. Getting ready for a nice weekend. It's a little cold here in the Lincoln, Nebraska area. I think it was 12 when I just walked in the bowling center. But welcome to the Daily Show, presented by Bowlers Network. Thank you again to Farmers Union Insurance for being one of our first sponsors to take a chance on helping us grow the bowling industry. Let's get right to it. Come on in, Jay. Come on in, Zach.
Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Zach.
Hey, as usual, you know, I always have our day planned out and what we're going to do, but I'm going to just throw us off key. Let's talk a little bit about the PBA being in town. We are currently cut to our top 16, and I am going to throw it to Zach first. 3 rookies, I believe, in that top 16. CJ Petrin, Robarge, my guy, Brandon Bonta. We also have EJ Tackett in the Player of the Year race, already leading. A shocker. But Zach, top 16, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride so far because just before this, Sean Maldonado knocked himself out of the top 5 with a 140 game in match play. Just started about an hour ago right now. So it's been a wild tournament so far. Like, we had Brad Miller almost pass out and then subsequently shoot 300. We had a lot of guys right on that cut line for the last game of qualifying to cut to that round of 32. We had Belmo drop off with a couple of bad games to end it. We had a couple guys sneak in. It's been a crazy tournament so far in so many different ways. So it's been very fun to see all the rookies now. We have the strongest rookie of the year race than we've had in the last 5 years, just because they all made top 16. So it's been great so far.
Before I throw it to you, Jay, I also want to say something. Couple of things. I watched Belmo. This is not, he just did something that you just don't expect Belmo to do, but his last 2 frames of his last game, open. If there's somebody I want throwing it for the cheese for me, it is Jason Belmonte. So very unlike Jason. Unfortunate, of course, was I think 4 pins or so. Pair to pair during qualifying, as well as last night, seemed to be a little tricky. Last night was dual patterns. Jay, what are your thoughts on going from bowling on one pattern to bowling on dual patterns?
Well, first, I want to go back to what you said about the pairs as they get tighter. Being there, one of the things that I noticed is the one side of the house for maybe like, let's say 30 on played incredibly tighter. You'll notice the scores were much lower on that side of the house. The center lanes of the house seem to have, a lot of free hook, a lot of miss room. But again, if you were, and I don't know the exact number, but maybe right around 30 to the 50, 52 end, they got a lot tighter. The dual pattern, I love that, especially at a major. I think you need to make it difficult. I think it needs to be hard. And this really tests a player's ability to manipulate the ball and change speeds. And that's another thing we noticed yesterday. Players who could control their speed really excelled. So that's the couple of things that I noticed.
So I want to touch on that a little bit. I'm very familiar with Bolero Euless. You are correct. The high end normally plays tighter. A lot more of the open play and league play is in the center of the house. Lanes 1 through 8 also play a little differently, but they didn't use those at first. So you do see the characteristics of, end to end, which again, what you're bowling on makes a big difference as well. Let's talk a little bit about that. Viper and Badger. We have Viper 37 feet. Badger, I believe, is 50. The 37 with Viper, 25.5 milliliters of oil. Badger, 35 mils. They use fire, which tends to hold up in the front part of the lane. I'm sorry. I'm going to reverse that. I personally thought fire burns up quicker than ice when I've bowled on it. When I talked to Neil, though, depending on the bowling center and what kind of surface, it's held up pretty well. One thing I did notice, and I heard the players talking about, was when they did bowl on Badger, they had to bring that ball speed down, or they completely miss the middle part of the lane. Zach, looking at the patterns, what's your take on it?
Yeah, it's been this is the first event where we're seeing a potential attempt at shutting out urethane. You're going to notice each pattern has that little hammerhead, or otherwise could be seen as a speed bump. That's always been used for the last couple of years to try to limit how much urethane gets used on tour. And we saw that a lot. Viper, there was not much urethane. Day one, ton of urethane going down the lane. Going into day two and day three, people were leaning more towards reactive, or Storm guys were leaning towards that new concept, which is urethane-like, but still a lot more reactive down lane. That's really where you saw the scores increase a bit when they were getting out of that urethane. Urethane was a little too squirrely down lane. It just seemed like it didn't want to hook in the right part of the lane. So that's been interesting. Going on to Badger, yeah, it was just who can throw it slower and be able to get up the back of it and trap it on the 3-pin. What you usually need to do on a long pattern, but 50 feet is a lot. These guys are making it look hard, and they have the highest rev rates in the world. So if you put this out at an amateur event, people aren't even going to get the ball to wiggle. You're going to see so many 5 counts. I know Kyle Sherman yesterday, or a couple days ago, left, I think, 3 8-10 combos on the long pattern. So it has just been a nightmare for some of the guys.
Well, and the other thing was, Jesper left a 5-7-10.
Did he? Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
But
Lily?
I
didn't see that.
Yes.
But he
I
picked
was
it up,
there
didn't he?
when, on Monday or Tuesday? On Tuesday. But here's something I want to discuss. You said about manipulating your hand, bringing down that ball speed. The sneaky one who I absolutely love as a human and a bowler, Bill O'Neill, sneaking into the first cut, sneaking into the second cut. Key to his game, getting up the back of it, getting that ball to read, and allowing him to do what he wants to control that back end. What do you think about that, Jay?
Well, I talked to Bill, and you're right. I mean, so Bill has his experience, but he also has the ability to control the ball speed. That is the thing that, you mentioned as well. And one thing I want to make a note is I noticed of the Brunswick family guys, 2 things that I noticed is on the short pattern, a lot of them were throwing the Brunswick danger zone, the new ball. I couldn't believe that. I was really surprised
Danger
by
zone.
that.
I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in there. Are we?
Yeah,
I
love
we thinking
it.
about Tom Cruise?
I love it. Yeah. And the other thing that I noticed them throwing was the new purple hammer, or the new Dynasty. I'm sorry, Black Widow Dynasty. So using the solids on that shorter pattern, I think was, what a lot of them were throwing. I think they did that to prevent really hard off the dry spot, obviously. But yeah, I mean, going back to Bill, I'm sorry I got a little sidetracked there, but going back to Bill, that's that experience and patience. I noticed he really had a struggle there for a while. I don't remember what game it was. It was in the qualifying side where he was missing single pins, which is ridiculously unusual for him. But he kept his composure and just did his thing from there on out.
So it's funny you mentioned single pins. Had a great conversation. Frankie Lavoie, Stu Williams, AJ Chapman, I talked to a little bit. I talked to Hank Boomershine. Who was that? Timmy Tan, Andrew Anderson. The one thing they all said, except for Frankie Lavoie, my sparing was atrocious. Those first 2 days, I am not exaggerating. One player said he missed 7 makeables, 5 single pins. Do you know how many pins that is? Andy made the cut. So
was that Andrew?
I want to tell you this conversation. No, I want to throw it to you, Zach, though, because I want to say, here's what he said. Here I am. I missed 2 spares in 3 rounds. I don't make the cut because I can't strike. But the guys who are missing 7 and 8 spares, back it up with a 4-bagger, 5-bagger, and they're in the cut. What am I doing wrong? So, it was a light conversation, but you know what? It is the first week out there. I don't think pair-to-pair they were, super easy. What do you equate that sparing situation to, with people still making the cut?
Yeah, it kind of showcases what bowling's kind of been going towards the last couple of years is I mean, a lot of newer players, especially, you can get away with missing spares because you're getting those 4, 5, 6 baggers. And as we saw this week, pin carry was crazy. So it was a little bit easier to get those lucky hits, even if you weren't in the pocket. So you can make up for a lot of those missed spares fairly easily. Scores weren't insanely high where it was forced to make every single spare you possibly could. But it is always kind of surprising. Like that's one thing that hurts me a lot sometimes at tournaments. I'm like, man, I didn't miss a makeable today and I missed cut by 20. What's going on? Like it's just that
Right.
extra layer of just a different skill that you need to do is all right, how do I start getting strings then? I don't have to focus on my sparing as much, but I bet a lot of guys go off of this weekend and thinking, I'm going to shoot 100 single pins before between the next now and the next tournament.
Okay, well, here's another question. And Jay, I'm going to go to you first. So on the dual pattern, my head would be telling me, fill frames first. The lane that I'm good on, I need to really take advantage of, right? But if the other lane is tougher for me, just make sure I fill a frame, whether you shoot 200, 210, whatever it be. When you're bowling on a dual pattern, Jay, what would be your philosophy? What would be your philosophy going into that, the matches, saying, okay, I'm on a dual pattern. What are some of your keys that you're putting into your mind prior to you starting?
Oh boy. Oh boy. I've never been in that situation, so I can only guess. I've only played one dual mat or dual pattern tournament. And so I got to say that, I'm going to try and put my head in that situation, and that is control the pocket, really. I mean, that is
Okay.
to me, instrumental. And then if you in match play, the person you're playing against is on a roll, really, then you got to press. I mean, you got to figure out something and really, again, press. Controlling the pocket may be good, if the other person is struggling, but beyond that, it's just maybe press again, figure something out. Now, I am going to make a comment, go back to the carry. Yep. You had some people get ridiculous carry this week, but then you had others. You mentioned Kyle Sherman leaving 8-10s. You either did or didn't.
Right.
Chris Barnes really struggled with carry this week. He was right in the pocket, controlled the pocket again, but really struggled with carry. So maybe it was just wrong ball choice, wrong line. But who knows what it was? But to your point, Zach, you either did or you didn't have carry.
I think but before I go to you, Zach, I think there are a lot of factors that played in. I want to give a shout out though to Tom Doherty, oldest guy in the field, making the cut. That's what he told me. I said to him, you bowled great, and he did. So he still got game. Of course, I call him more of a palm bowler, but he falls into the obviously two-handed category, has a higher rev rate, can do it all. I don't even know if there is such a thing as a different philosophy. Yes, you have to attack each lane differently. But Zach, my question to you is this. You do so many ball reviews, and you're so up on as the releases are coming out. Do you think each company at this point has filled the gaps, giving players the opportunity now to be way ahead of what they might need?
Good question. Yeah, honestly, yes. I'd say 2025 and into 26 is the strongest bowling has ever been in terms of bowling balls. Every company has a really fleshed out lineup, which is good because you're seeing a big mix of different companies make the cut. You're seeing Brunswick, Storm, and Motive guys pretty equal amounts making it, which is good. But yeah, they all have a very just even lineup. Now, the big thing with dual pattern, I bowled on probably 5 to 10 dual pattern tournaments at this point. And the ball you choose is very important because you're throwing a different ball on each lane. Usually, if you're able to throw the same ball, you're generally a step ahead because that extra comfort is there. You've done it more often throwing the same ball on each lane. But either way, that's really important. So knowing what ball you need on each lane, like what kind of big smooth ball you need on Badger or something a little weaker on Viper, whatever it may be, is super, super important. So you're seeing these guys who are really crushing it, being able to handle those ball changes because it's very tough tough to be able to bowl on two patterns where one of them you might be crushing it. You might never miss, say, on Viper, but Badger, you're ball cycling, just trying to pray for that double. So yeah, the ball selections right now for the companies, really, really good. Best we've seen in a long time. And that should really help any of the players be able to do it as long as they know what each ball does.
And it's interesting. I bowled on, I bowled on many, 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 many sport patterns, dual patterns. On the original tour, we were one of the first to put into motion sport bowling. Not only is knowing the equipment important and having a game plan as to step up, step down, because it's got to be quick because each lane is different. And literally each lane is different, right? Mm-hmm. But knowing what you're going to go to in that game plan and maybe have 2 or 3 plans is something that you have to have. And I still think the spare ball this week is one of the most important balls in the bag, without a doubt. With that being said, Jay, I'm going to throw it to you. We have talked about many bowlers over the last few weeks. It is the first week of the PBA Tour, but we've got to talk about him again. Some of the players were saying, first tournament, had some jitters. Some of the players were traveling, didn't feel like they were ready. Some thought they were over-prepared. EJ Tackett just dominating again, looking effortless. What do you think are some of the contributing factors besides him just being absolutely phenomenal?
You can only, to me, the only thing that comes to mind is really one word, and that is confidence. You know, his mental confidence and physical confidence is on another planet right now. And, you know, he's kind of at that point, I would imagine that, you know, he expects this to happen. You know, anything less, you know, is kind of a setback. And when you're playing or you're doing anything with that level of confidence, when you miss a single a makeable spare here and there, what normally would set someone back, like, right? To him, you know, when you're playing at that level, I would imagine, I've never done that, so I don't know that to be the case, but I would imagine, again, when you're playing at that kind of level of confidence, you know that you can cover that up with a 3, 4, 5 bagger in a row. So it just is, your plane was so loose and you're not tight. That to me is the first thing that comes to mind.
I can't agree with you more on that. The other factor is that confidence does so many things to help you relax in so many other areas. And, you know, he's in a good place. He owns a bowling center. You know, him and his wonderful wife are have a beautiful son, and just everything seems to be going well for him, besides the fact of being one of the hardest workers and working every aspect of his life as an athlete, not just throwing the ball. And you're right, confidence just exudes from all perspectives where he's concerned. It's going to be exciting again to kind of see how this week pans out, and if he just makes the first show and starts to, honestly, he's setting the bar for everybody like Belmo did and like Simo started to do, correct? I mean, that's just the way it is. It'll be interesting to see. But this week also has some great things going on as well as bowling. We have the PBA Hall of Fame. Somebody's going to win $100,000. And Jay, you went to see the Bowling Hall of Fame and Museum, which many people, I still feel, is one of the best hidden gems of bowling, right? I mean, tell us a little bit about your day at the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's actually been multiple days. And, you know, you walk, first of all, if you get a chance, it's almost like I would say make it a pilgrimage. You know, and it is unbelievable. And Carrie Smith, the curator, is you know, awesome. And we got archive, I guess you could say, things that the public doesn't see. And so we're going to be doing we'll call it a documentary, right? And you know, we're going to be putting together like a, I don't know, 30-minute video or movie on the history of bowling. And it's not going to be things that the public sees. So we got to go back into the archives. There's 2 separate archives. The things that they have, oh my word, it is so awesome. And we made a post of just a few of those things. But yeah, the things that you don't know about that I had no clue. Oh my gosh, you guys, it just gives me goosebumps to think about.
Well, we're really going to look forward to that, because one thing I want people to know that they may not know, anybody who visits the Hall of Fame Museum, you can look yourself up. You know, they have a machine in there where you can put your name in there. You can find out how many 300s you have, or, I mean, there is something in that museum for everyone. They have the history of women's pro bowling, Team USA, college bowling. There is something in there for everyone. So I encourage that if you're in Arlington, Texas, please visit the Hall of Fame Museum. Zach, I'm going to put you on the line here before we start to wind down.
Okay.
Who is your pick to win this week?
Oh, I'm on Team Andrew yet. He was my player of the year choice. I'm still Team Andrew. He missed a trillion single pins again. Yeah, Team Turbo. Yeah, he's missed so many single pins, and he jumped up to second place, but he is crushing both patterns. He is, I don't think he's thrown urethane yet on the Viper pattern. He's just been throwing reactive, his stupid Ion Pro that he adores, which I really like now too, which is great. But overall, he has beautiful ball look. Now, EJ is crushing it. EJ is the easy choice. He's leading the field by a billion. He's probably going to be the 1 seed. But the Andrew versus EJ matchups on TV are awesome. I know in the past we've had EJ versus Belmo or Simo versus Belmo that everyone was looking for. I predict that 2026 is going to be the year of EJ versus Andrew. That is going to be the prime matchup that we're going to have going on this year. We had a couple last year that were awesome, but I think we're going to have it again for 26.
I actually like how that flows, EJ and Andrew. We can do a kind of universe type thing. I think put it out there. I love that. I want to hear from you out there in the bowling world. Let us know on Bowlers Network. Who do you think is going to be player of the year? Who do you think is going to be rookie of the year? Who do you think is going to come out of the universe? I think we're going to have a rookie on the show this week.
Okay, let me make my pick. Let me make my pick.
But you're going to have to hurry, because I think Josh is going to wave his hand at me. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. No, I'm kidding, Jay. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make my pick, right? Okay, who was my rookie of the year pick? You wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, of course.
I did, but I think you said.
Yeah,
did I write it down?
I'm just kidding. It's rhetorical. Yeah. So now he's if I know this correctly, he's the sole remaining lefty right now, isn't he?
Jesper's still there. Graham's still there too.
Jesper.
Yep.
And Graham Fox. Yep.
No, Graham Fox. Graham threw really well yesterday, by the way.
Yeah,
I was videoing his going into the 10th, he had the front 9, and every time I do that, something happens. So I'm like a jinx on that. But I'm gonna say, remember when Kevin McCune won his sole major, and it was the okay?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go out. You can't pick the easy ones. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna say, the end of the week, Spencer's going to come out on top.
Oh,
I like that. I like that pick.
And that will solidify my rookie of the year.
I still think EJ is going to make it. I think he's got the best. I think he's got the most confidence to win. I think Andrew could be right behind him. I'm still going to go with Team Brandon Bonta for my rookie, but I still love them all, I have to admit. Gosh darn it, I hate that I have to pick one. But guys, great conversation. We're going to cover a lot more of this moving into next week. We will have a PBA wrap-up. We will have maybe some pictures from the PBA Hall of Fame. And again, thank you so much to Farmers Insurance for being a part of Bowlers Network. Thank you for joining us on The Daily Show. We are going to have a bunch to talk about next week. Join us here again Monday, 12 Central Time, right here on the Bowling Channel, Bowlers Network.